Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. The baseball world woke up to a storm of whispers that quickly turned into something far louder than a simple rumor circulating through clubhouses and social media timelines. Word began spreading among insiders that a stunning blockbuster exchange had quietly taken shape behind closed doors, and at the center of the conversation stood one of the most feared power hitters in the modern game. Yordan Alvarez, the towering slugger whose bat has terrified pitchers across the league for years, was suddenly being linked to a shocking destination. The chatter grew louder with every passing minute, and the name being repeated by reporters, scouts, and fans alike was the Los Angeles Dodgers. For a franchise already known for stacking elite talent year after year, the idea sounded almost unreal. Yet the more people talked, the more the speculation began to feel less like fantasy and more like something that had truly happened. Sources close to league executives began hinting that negotiations had been unfolding quietly for longer than anyone realized. The suggestion was simple but explosive. Alvarez was no longer expected to anchor the lineup he had become synonymous with. Instead, he was supposedly preparing to step into a lineup that already felt like an all-star showcase every night. That possibility alone was enough to ignite debate across the entire baseball landscape. As the rumor gained momentum, analysts began connecting dots that previously seemed unrelated. For weeks, there had been subtle signals that something big might be brewing behind the scenes. Front office figures had been spotted in conversations that looked far more serious than routine scouting discussions. Scouts were attending games they normally would not prioritize. And now, in hindsight, many insiders believe those quiet observations were early signs of a massive trade framework being built piece by piece. Yordan Alvarez, a player whose combination of raw strength, plate discipline, and postseason composure places him among the most dangerous hitters in the sport, suddenly appeared to be the centerpiece of that framework. The idea of him wearing Dodger blue seemed almost surreal to longtime observers of the league. Yet speculation continued to intensify as reporters described the move as a star-for-star philosophy, suggesting that this was not a routine transaction, but rather a bold exchange involving elite talent on both sides. That phrase alone sparked endless conversation among fans. If a hitter like Alvarez truly changed teams, it would signal an enormous shift in competitive balance across the league. And if the Dodgers were indeed the team receiving him, the ripple effects could reshape the entire championship picture moving forward. Inside the Dodger fan community, reactions ranged from disbelief to pure excitement. Supporters began imagining what their lineup might look like with Alvarez inserted into the heart of it. The thought of opposing pitchers having to navigate through a batting order already filled with dangerous hitters, only to then face one of the game's most intimidating sluggers, felt almost unfair from a competitive standpoint. Commentators on sports talk shows started describing it as the kind of move that front offices only attempt when they believe a championship window is wide open. Adding a bat like Alvarez would not simply strengthen an offense. It would transform the emotional energy of the entire roster. Teammates would suddenly gain protection in the batting order, forcing pitchers into impossible choices about where to attack. Analysts began speculating that the psychological impact alone could tilt entire playoff series. What made the rumor even more fascinating was the suggestion that negotiations had been conducted with extreme secrecy. Very few leaks had surfaced before the story erupted publicly. That silence gave the situation an almost cinematic quality, as though a major twist in the baseball narrative had been carefully hidden until the exact moment the news exploded across the sport. Meanwhile, conversations around the league quickly shifted toward the motivations behind such a dramatic move. Executives and former players began discussing why a team would even consider parting with a hitter like Alvarez in the first place. Some speculated that financial flexibility might have played a role. Others wondered whether a long-term roster reset was quietly underway behind the scenes. Still others argued that when superstar talent becomes available, certain organizations simply refuse to ignore the opportunity. The Dodgers have built a reputation over the years for aggressive thinking and relentless pursuit of elite players, and that identity made the rumor feel oddly believable. Observers noted that the franchise rarely hesitates when a chance arises to acquire a generational hitter. If the whispers were true, the move would fit perfectly into a pattern of bold decisions designed to keep the team at the top of the baseball world. And yet, despite all the speculation, details about the exact structure of the trade remain mysterious. That uncertainty only fueled the drama, as fans debated what kind of return could possibly justify sending away a slugger who has repeatedly delivered some of the most powerful swings seen in recent seasons. As the hours passed, the rumor evolved from a simple report into something resembling a full-scale baseball mystery. Commentators began examining past interviews, front office philosophies, and even subtle comments from players that might hint at deeper organizational strategies. Some insiders suggested that the deal had actually been discussed for a long time, possibly beginning as a casual conversation before slowly gaining momentum. Trades of this magnitude rarely appear overnight. They require patience, trust between organizations, and a willingness to take enormous risks. In this case, the risk would be monumental for both sides. For the Dodgers, the gamble would involve integrating a superstar personality into an already star-filled clubhouse, while maintaining the chemistry that has been central to their success. For the other team involved, the decision would represent a dramatic shift away from a player who has defined their offensive identity for years. That tension between ambition and uncertainty made the entire story even more captivating. Fans were not just reacting to a rumor about a trade. They were witnessing the unfolding of a potential turning point in the narrative of modern baseball. By the time the speculation reached its peak, many reporters were speaking as if the move had essentially been confirmed behind the curtain of official announcements. Sources hinted that internal conversations within the Dodgers organization had already begun focusing on how to introduce Álvarez to the fan base and how to structure the batting order around his presence. The excitement surrounding that possibility was impossible to ignore. Supporters imagined the roar of the crowd when the slugger would eventually step into the batter's box for the first time wearing Dodger colors. Even rival fans admitted that the idea felt dramatic enough to redefine the competitive landscape of the league. The rumor had transformed from a simple headline into a storyline dominating every baseball conversation. Whether discussed in locker rooms, television studios, or online communities, the same question kept returning again and again. What happens when one of the sport's most feared hitters joins one of its most powerful franchises? Behind the scenes, however, the most intriguing part of the story might be the strategy that supposedly led to this explosive moment. According to whispers circulating among league insiders, the negotiations were not just about swapping talent, but about reshaping the long-term futures of both organizations. The Dodgers have long operated with a philosophy built on relentless competitiveness combined with calculated patience. When they pursue a star, it is rarely an impulsive decision. Instead, it usually reflects months of analysis, scouting, financial projections, and internal debate. If the reports about Álvarez joining the team are accurate, it would mean that the front office saw something truly special in this opportunity. They would not simply be acquiring a power hitter. They would be securing a centerpiece capable of anchoring their offense for years while energizing an already passionate fan base. The idea that such a calculated organization would move aggressively for him only reinforces the sense that this trade, rumored as it may still be, carries enormous weight. Every executive across the league would be watching closely, knowing that the Dodgers rarely make moves without a clear vision of how it strengthens their championship ambitions. At the same time, players around the league reportedly reacted with a mixture of admiration and concern. Many athletes understand better than anyone how dangerous Álvarez can be when he settles into a rhythm at the plate. Pitchers have spent entire seasons studying his swing, searching for tiny weaknesses that might give them a chance to survive an at-bat. The thought of facing him even more frequently, especially within a lineup already stacked with talented hitters, is enough to make opposing rotations uneasy. Several former players speaking on broadcast panels described the scenario as a nightmare for rival teams. When a club adds a hitter who forces pitchers to rethink their entire approach, it creates a ripple effect across every series they play. Defensive alignments shift. Bullpen strategies evolve. Managers begin planning matchups several innings earlier than usual. In other words, one single player can quietly alter the tactical landscape of an entire season. If Álvarez truly becomes part of the Dodgers roster, that transformation could unfold almost immediately, turning every matchup into a high-pressure chess match between elite talent. Another fascinating element of the rumor involves how Álvarez himself might respond to the change. Throughout his career, he has often appeared calm, focused, and almost quietly confident about his ability to deliver in crucial moments. Those who have followed him closely know that he rarely seeks the spotlight through dramatic gestures or loud celebrations. Instead, he lets the sound of the bat speak for him. Moving to a franchise like the Dodgers, however, would place him at the center of one of the most intense media environments in baseball. Every swing, every slump, every clutch hit would be analyzed from countless angles. Some analysts believe that pressure could actually elevate his performance even further. Others wonder whether adjusting to a new clubhouse, new city, and new expectations might take time. That uncertainty adds another layer of intrigue to the entire story. Fans are not only imagining how the lineup might change, they're also picturing how the personality of the team could evolve once a slugger with Álvarez's quiet intensity becomes part of its core. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. The rumored exchange has also sparked endless debate about the broader direction of modern baseball strategy. In recent years, front offices have become increasingly analytical, often prioritizing depth, versatility, and long-term flexibility over massive blockbuster trades. Yet deals involving true superstars still capture the imagination of the sport in a way few other transactions can match. When a hitter capable of launching towering home runs and delivering unforgettable postseason moments becomes available, the temptation to act boldly can be irresistible. The Dodgers have historically balanced data-driven planning with a willingness to seize dramatic opportunities, and that balance might explain why their name continues to surface in connection with Álvarez. Observers argue that acquiring him would represent more than just a roster improvement. It would be a statement about ambition. It would signal that the organization is not satisfied with merely contending. Instead, it wants to build a lineup so intimidating that opponents feel the pressure long before the first pitch of a series is even thrown. Fans, of course, have embraced the rumor with unstoppable enthusiasm. Online discussions have exploded with imagined batting orders, projected home run totals, and playful debates about how many games such a lineup could dominate over the course of a season. Some supporters are already picturing highlight reels filled with towering blasts into the night sky at Dodger Stadium. Others are dreaming about dramatic postseason moments where Álvarez steps to the plate with the entire stadium holding its breath. The emotional power of those possibilities explains why this story has captured so much attention. Baseball thrives on narratives, and few narratives are more compelling than the arrival of a superstar capable of redefining a team's identity. Whether the rumor ultimately proves entirely accurate or reveals unexpected twists, it has already succeeded in reigniting the imagination of fans across the sport. As the speculation continues to swirl, one thing has become clear. The mere possibility of Yordan Álvarez wearing Dodger blue has shaken the baseball conversation in a profound way. Commentators, analysts, former players, and devoted fans all find themselves returning to the same thought again and again. If this move truly becomes reality, it will not simply be remembered as a trade. It will be remembered as a moment when the competitive balance of the league shifted dramatically, when one franchise decided to chase greatness with fearless ambition, and when one of the most feared hitters in the game stepped onto a new stage that might amplify every thunderous swing of his bat. Whether whispered in clubhouses or debated across television panels, the story continues to grow, fueled by anticipation and the irresistible drama that only baseball can create. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.